It would be funnier if I hadn't died of a heart complication when I was supposed to be recording in the past.
That would be funny.
Well, that did happen.
I know. And it was hilarious.
It
was a highlight.
Was it funny before I got back?
Yeah. Well. Not ha-ha funny, but, you know.
Welcome to Atlas Balked, a weekly variety show concerning the mundane, weird, and maybe even sometimes dramatic happenings of a few simple-minded guys who just happen to be in a storied fantasy baseball league. This podcast captures the thoughts and musings of Greg, Joe, Jack, and Tim, 4 of the 12 owners in the league. Download this podcast wherever you get the podcast content you listen to when you're looking into the secret life of Big Bird. You can also connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and email. DM us or send us a quick note at atlasbalked@gmail.com. This is episode 86 entitled Stealing Signs. Good morning, Barker Nation. We're happy to have you here with us. Mr. Smyfave, Joe, how are you doing this morning?
I'm peachy. Got a game to look forward to this afternoon. I'm going to get high back on Tuesday. And
You're going to get high back on Tuesday?
I'm getting high Tuesday, too.
well, it's my truck. It's a Sierra, so I call it a high. It was either that or Reuben, but that seemed kind of weird.
You name your vehicles, Joe?
Yes.
Do you talk to your vehicle?
I don't. I listen to
Do you
it.
ever write a song to it?
No.
No, Neil Young did. Long May You Run.
Well, all right. Well, I'm glad. So what are you driving with, not being high or not being able to...
I rented a truck from U-Haul.
He's got a 22-footer.
box truck. All right. Well, GK, how are you doing this morning with your Grateful Dead t-shirt on?
I'm good. I'm feeling well. I'm feeling rested. I love 3-day weekends. I wish every weekend could be a 3-day weekend. And I'm ready to rock.
So, Swag, how are you doing this morning?
I'm good. What's happening, fellas? Hey, do you guys know that Jack Black's parents were both rocket scientists?
You know what? I think I did from a Howard Stern interview that I heard him do.
His mother actually worked on the Minuteman missile, the Hubble Space Telescope, tracking and data relay satellite, and the Apollo space program.
You know, that's funny that you mentioned Jack Black and then Tenacious D, because our lost third segment last week is kind of like their song Epic. You know, like the greatest segment ever, but we can't remember
Lost. Yep. Yeah, we should probably apologize for that. It was...
I know it's my fault. It's my computer's fault. It was my failing to bring my power cord home for my new primary computer. So, fans, I'm sorry. I'm human.
I wasn't going to place the blame on any one individual. I didn't even know that there was blame. I just thought it...
No, it's my fault.
Yeah. Why are you out to get Greg, Jack?
Tim sent me some hateful notes over the week. It's fine.
That I believe.
Yeah, let me describe this hateful note. Greg, do you have your power cord?
Mm-hmm.
Sounds pretty loaded to me.
Well, we have a lot to talk about today. So we none of it's rocket science. This is straight up good stuff to talk about. We've got some games we've got to play. We've got some baseball to talk about. We had our Juiceless expansion, our final expansion, the final expansion.
How do we know the final expansion? Why would we ever go to 15 teams?
Well, it's the final expansion right now. I think the plan was always to go to 12.
Oh, yeah.
We do have that opportunity to expand further. Absolutely. I don't know that we'd ever talked about it in the last 10 years, going to 15 or something like that.
It's not a hot topic, but let's not put limits on ourselves.
But it's the semi-final expansion. Yeah, so it's possibly the last expansion.
There's not 12 when you start getting there's not a lot of leagues out there with more than 12 teams that I'm aware of. There's not enough catchers to have 8 teams, but hey.
So I'd say, Greg, you wanted to play a game. So let's go ahead and hand the microphone over to you and let's play a game.
The fact that Joe last week didn't know that Jerry Garcia had been dead for what now we've confirmed to be 24 years, it surprised me.
I didn't miss him.
Well, I'm not, Joe, honestly, I haven't pined away for him much at all. It was sad when he passed, and I loved his music.
I didn't.
Oh, I get it, but just like any famous person dying, it's newsworthy. That's all I'm saying, Joe. And you strike me as a cerebral guy who's attuned to like music and modern culture, and maybe you're not, And so
definitely not.
Well, and so I prepared a game where I'm going to give you the names. I'm not going to list them all out, and then you kind of do a match. I just want to go person by person and give you the opportunity to call out for these. I think everyone, and you guys can tell me if any of these musicians are too obscure, even for Joe, or just if they are commonly known household names. I think most of them are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. In fact, if they're deceased, if they're alive, or if they're not only alive but alive and touring right now, like you could go see them this week or in the near future, if assuming you could travel to the destination they were attending. How does that sound, Joe? Fun?
Oh, just peachy.
But before I do that, I do feel like I would be remiss if I didn't talk about a very special moment that Joe and I shared this week.
Really?
Yeah, listeners, as Jack said, Mikey was touched, and I genuinely appreciate it. I was speaking totally sincerely and from the heart about the impact that Rush and Neil Peart, his lyrics, had on me as a kid. And so on Friday night, Joe was texting relentlessly, the same message over and over again. And, generally we ignore that sort of thing, frankly. It's like a warning beacon. And it's not like I was doing anything important where I couldn't have responded. I simply chose not to because I was frightened. But as I lay there feeling somewhat butterflies in my stomach as Joe just continued to text the same message over and over again, the phone rang, and lo and behold, it was Joe. Uh-oh. And I'll be honest, buddy, I thought seriously about sending you straight to voicemail. But I thought, nope, I'll answer it.
Probably would have been better for you if you had.
But I'm glad I didn't, because, listeners, what Joe shared was just how deeply moved he was about the anecdote I shared about my daughter and her referencing of the song "The Trees" by Rush, and how he shared with me an interesting interview that I might want to watch about Neil Peart, and it was a tender moment. And Joe may deny this, but at the conclusion of the call, we exchanged "I love you, buddies."
Aww.
And so, no matter, listeners, I want you to know, no matter how much we take one another's inventories on here, it's all done in love. Okay, now let's get on to the game.
How about that? That's wonderful.
Let me dry my eyes for a second here. Wow. Geez.
It is. That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Okay, so this first person, Peter Frampton.
He's alive and touring.
You're right.
That was quick.
Joe Strummer.
He's dead.
Brian Wilson.
Also dead.
Nope, he's alive and on tour.
Oh. He's been dead for 40 years.
He played here in South Florida Friday.
Yeah, I just saw an interview with him on something about 6 months ago.
No, he's alive.
He's dead.
No, he's not. He played
I saw
here.
The interview. He's dead.
He didn't answer a fucking question.
Okay. Warren Zevon.
Warren Zevon is dead from cancer. He had a hat just like you.
Oh.
Trent Reznor.
He's alive, I believe. I don't know if he's touring.
That's right. And he's not touring. He's talking about it, but he's not currently touring. Buddy Guy
is alive and plays every night at his bar that he's not touring.
Well, he's playing shows, so that counts. You're correct. Chris Cornell.
I don't know who that is.
Lead singer of Soundgarden.
I never listened to them.
But that's not the question.
I'm going to say he's dead.
He is dead.
Absolute shame.
Dave Gahan.
Don't know who that is.
Lead singer of Depeche Mode, recently, this weekend, in fact, inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Well, then he must be alive if he was at this induction.
No, they inducted Chris Cornell as well. So.
Okay, well, then he's dead.
No, he's alive.
I said he was alive.
Yeah.
Just like the beach ball incident?
Yeah. And then last but not least, the notorious B.I.G.
He's dead.
Yeah, look at that. You did pretty well, Joe.
Even in rap.
Well.
Yay.
Yeah, good job.
Although with the rappers, you're pretty safe just going with Dead, right?
About 50% of the time.
Speaking of rappers and unfortunately, but I ended up having a friggin' very unplanned horrible day yesterday. Like by the end of my day, I was almost in depression.
Do you normally plan your horrible days?
No. I started. I had to do some work, and always fun on a Saturday morning. So did some work. I was running the draft while I was working, which made it easy for me. Fuck you, Dusty.
Oh, wow.
And then I decided to make a drink, and when I did that, I dropped not only one glass bottle, but I hit another glass bottle, shattered everywhere. There's hot sauce, and it was horrible. So anyway, I cleaned all that up, but that just kind of started the situation.
Listeners, Jackson airline pilot, for those of you who don't know what it is.
I drive a train. So no, I work from home. But anyway, so I just decided that it would be a good time to throw on the new Mac Miller.
Ah, good call.
Fucking sad, bro. Like, God damn. Like, by the end of it, I was just like, fuck. And then, like an idiot, not really putting them together, I finished the night off drinking by myself, watching
Schindler's List?
The Joker, close.
So
by the end of the night, I'm just like, fucking, I just want to crawl in a hole. And like, it was a very unintentional, forced slide into negativity yesterday. But so anyway, sorry, just thought I'd share that. I found it quite interesting. Didn't really put two and two together.
That's a great movie. I really enjoyed it.
It was good. Yeah. And Mac Miller's album is great. Just very sad. Both of them just,
Was your Nick Cage pillowcase soaked in tears? As you drifted off to sleep?
It's a little out of my price range. I did check.
No, there's always your birthday.
There's not a Chinese knockoff you can get somewhere at a flea market or something?
You mean like Jackie Chan? That does sound depressing.
Yeah, it was kind of sad. So let's get out of that mood. And I actually have a little game that we can play here, and I was going to actually put Greg in the player's seat for this one. And it's similar to some of the other stuff we've done, but it's a little different. So this one, we're going to call it This or That is the name of the game. And I'm gonna read off 6 things, kind of like real or fake, except all of these are real.
Okay.
These are all movie titles. 3 of them are actual movie titles, G, PG, rated R. 3 of them are pornos.
Ooh, nice.
And you have to guess which are which. So obviously, being movies and all of us being well versed in movies and assumedly pornos, I didn't go with any low-hanging fruit. So there's no Black Snake Moan, there's no Snatch, Pretty in Pink is not in here, not even There Will Be Blood. All of those are out.
Do they still make like feature film length pornos? Like, I never watched porno for like more than like 90 seconds at a time.
Right.
Do they make
do.
feature film length porno?
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Most of those are clips from full length porno.
Okay, cool. I'll go. I'm ready. Let's do this.
If you listen to the end, Greg will tell you how to get free porn.
Listen to the end? Is that one of the titles?
No. Number 1, The Harder They Come. Number 2, Midnight Meat Train. Number 3, The Nurse. Number 4, Confessions of a Teenage Peanut Butter Freak. Number 5 is 2 Mules for Sister Sarah. And number 6 is Autobiography of a Flea.
Okay, so I'm going to immediately call out 2 movies that I've seen and I know are not.
See, I really tried to reach with this one, but
2 Mules for Sister Sarah is Shirley MacLaine and Clint Eastwood. That's a real movie.
That is correct. Thank God. Yes.
And Midnight Meat Train is Bradley Cooper, I believe. Right?
Oh.
Right?
This is a lot more fun when you don't know stuff. But yeah.
I've seen that movie.
Yep.
Yeah, I've seen this.
Okay. So that opens it up for you. Yeah.
So now I have 3 porns and a little late. I mean, 3 porn and a legit movie. Yeah.
The Harder They Come, The Nurse, Confessions of a Teenage Peanut Butter Freak, and Autobiography of a Flea.
So I'm going to go on just gut instinct here and say the Confessions of a Teenage Peanut Butter Freak is a porn.
It is. That is correct. You're 3 for 3.
Oh boy, this is like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Should I walk away now? I've gotten 3 correct so far. Okay, so then we have The Nurse, we have The Harder They Come, and we have
Autobiography of a Flea.
The Harder They Come is so obvious that it seems like it would be an obvious one, but then I fear that you're trying to trick me. So I'm going to leave that alone for a minute. I'm going to focus on Autobiography of a Flea and The Nurse. I'm going to say Autobiography of a Flea is no, I'm not ready to commit. I'm going to say The Nurse is a porn. The Nurse is a porn.
It is.
Okay.
It is.
So it's down to 2, right? I'm 4 for 4.
Yep. You got 2 to go.
Whew. Yep. And I'm going to do the switcheroo and say that The Harder They Come was a plant, a trap question. I'm going to say that's the real film, and Autobiography of a Flea is the porn.
6 for 6. Wow.
Oh,
you have won. You are correct.
Oh, what do I win?
You get to keep your life.
I don't know, but that's impressive. So
anal beads.
You win the little bit of respect that you knew more about the real movies than the porn, I guess. So that's good, right? I am very interested after looking at this list in watching Autobiography.
Yeah, what is that? Is there a film? I would like a film description of that.
It's like from the 70s, I think.
And Confessions of a Teenage Peanut Butter Freak. That's
so
disturbing.
That might. Agreed.
Jesus
Agreed.
Christ.
Very good. Good job.
Thank you.
Obviously there was I threw a couple in there, but I was trying
2 mules for Sister Sarah. That would be quite a movie. God, yeah. Not just 1 mule, but 2 mules.
Now, while you guys were talking, and you may not have heard it, but Joe actually knew before you kind of affirmed it, Jack.
Right.
That, what was a porn
were you
and what
Googling
wasn't.
it,
Yeah.
Joe, or just what? Your own collection?
I remember that title.
Which one?
The Flea one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's from the 70s, I think.
You think?
No, 70s porn.
You're not sure, though. You don't remember.
No, I never saw it.
You didn't see. Okay. All right.
Okay. Well done. Well done, champ.
Thank you.
Yeah, you can't get this guy, man.
Ooh, Stump Greg. That could be a new segment. Maybe I should take on a guest from time to time, or take on one of you fellas.
I'll ask him to name the junior senator from 3 small states or something.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, maybe we should have Joe put it together.
You want it to be entertaining, don't you?
Oh, well, yeah, but we want Greg to lose sometime, too.
What is the most common lunch on the space station? Bologna and cheese or SpaghettiOs with tang?
Well, I think Tito got him at least for 1, right? So we know that Tito at least stumped him somewhat. Mm-hmm.
Scooter Muffet.
But I talking about Tito made me think we did get some listener feedback. This one's pretty heavy. It's heavier than Jack's day yesterday, for Christ's sake.
Oh, my.
Dear AB crew, longtime listener, first-time writer. This came through Gmail, by the way, which we don't get a lot coming through Gmail, but this person's got something to say. First of all, let me say I'm a fan of the show and thus obviously not easily offended. However, I'm also a cancer patient, and while I will admit I'm pretty sure I know what GK was wearing...
Wait. Sorry, I'm sorry. Could you reread that? Joe was laughing at the fact.
Joe was exploding in mirth.
Oh, my.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
All right.
I feel uncomfortable.
Guys, this is the Joker. Joe,
Yeah, it is.
do you have a card? Joe, do you have a card?
Oh my God, I'm laughing so hard, I'm crying.
Listeners, this is truly disturbing to me. We've been doing this podcast now for over 3 years, 100+ episodes, and I've never heard Joe laugh so heartily as just now.
Yeah, okay, so, however, I am also a cancer patient, and while I will admit I'm pretty sure I know what GK was wearing and can pretty much picture him in my head, we do not wear quote-unquote outfits. This one may be a little close to the line, Mr. Joe, but I will make you a deal. If you make a donation in the name of Atlas Balked to a cancer research program of your choice, I'm pretty sure cancer gods will forgive you and you can all go on living a happy, normal life. Your call, no pressure.
Oh.
Joe, parentheses, was my fave, B. Dana.
What's the B. Dana?
Oh my God. Our own fans are trolling us now.
Bandana.
Well done. It was one of those emails I thought was spam because it came like it you couldn't it wasn't like swag69 at Gmail, right? Like it was just so weird. I was like, oh, we're getting spammed now. And then I opened it up and I was like, holy crap. So whoever sent this was really fucking with us.
Or that's just a nom de plume that they didn't want to reveal their name.
Right.
And ruin their status as a super fan. It could have been H.R. Courtney.
Oh.
It could have been Turdnab the Magnificent. It could have been a lot of people.
Could have been me.
Could
have been me. Not the
could be a cancer patient.
The fact that my mother died of cancer, might have inspired me to write something like that.
Yeah. Well, just so you all know, and this is not, I actually did make a donation to the American Cancer Society
good for you, man.
From Atlas Balked. No, I did from Atlas Balked. I don't know. So I don't know who sent this, but thank you for sending this. We did. We got another one.
Oh no!
No, this had nothing to do with the. We only got 2 this week, but they were both very kind of apropos. This one was titled
"Speaking French, fancy."
What this WTF ? Okay, first GK can't spell relationship, then he's suddenly, very politely, podcasting from his future fiance's kitchen, then all of a sudden he's single again, and you tease an explanation, but nothing? What gives? That's right, we never fucking closed it out, right? That was part of the loss.
It was the third, yeah.
What happened to the future ghost queen? God damn it, I put the effort into listening to you fools each week. The least you can do is keep me informed for Christ's sake.
Okay.
That is awesome.
Shall I respond briefly?
Wait. Who's that? Who signed it?
M.
Martha Monday.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me?
Wait. Did she say, will you go back and read, did she call this person his future fiance?
Yeah.
The future ghost queen. Yeah, that's exactly it. Oh my God, Martha.
No, but legitimate. I didn't quite realize it until I listened, but because of the missing third segment, we never went back.
This is kind of weird, right? Because I'm going to admit it right now. Martha was not real. That was a made up character.
Oh.
So who the fuck is sending us notes now from Martha Monday?
Maybe like Norman Bates, Dusty has assumed the identity of his fictional mother. He hits Lane Bryant, gets himself an outfit, and then heads home to do some email corresponding.
Yes.
That's just a possibility.
Yes, mother. I'll write the email. Yes, mother. What should I say, mother?
All right, this is getting like Balked Nation starting to mess with it. Is this a thing now? Send stuff in, pretending to be other. Oh my God,
it makes it all worthwhile.
And I guess it's pretty easy to just make up all kinds of dummy email accounts because we're not getting any.
Marshall Mathers, maybe he's a fan.
Maybe.
His
you know that is, Joe?
His album dropped too.
Joe, do you know who Marshall Mathers
The
is?
rapper Eminem, and he's not dead.
Yeah, there you go.
All right.
Good job.
There you go.
He's quick on the Google.
So what's more likely? It's Dusty dressed up in a dress writing notes to us,
Yes.
or Eminem. It's up to you.
I'd say it's
Bachman Nation.
50-50. 50-50.
I can go either way on
I
that.
bet Eminem likes cancer jokes.
Well, whoever the hell is asking, I don't know, GK, if you're interested or not, but they are.
Yeah, I can tell, and I was a little bit disaffected by our technical difficulties, which I was the cause of last week, and so I didn't want to rehash the same story in the same day. But I'll give you the Cliff Notes version of it. It all came to a head on New Year's Eve when I had really gone to great length to try to make a really nice, sincerely, like a nice evening for the both of us, only to be chastised publicly for taking too long to retrieve a glass of champagne for her. And so that night didn't end well. And then we exchanged some.
So you guys did not kiss to bring in the new year?
Yeah, and then, I wouldn't let it go because that's how I am. And she was like, "If I owe you an apology, I'll apologize tomorrow." And I was like, "Well, that's not good enough." And she said, "Well, if it's going to ruin our night, let's just go back to the hotel." And I said, "All right, great, let's go." I called a Uber, checked out of the room, checked into a different room.
Oh.
And then we basically exchanged texts sufficiently to come to the conclusion that we're done.
Across the hall, leading up to midnight.
No, different floor. And so, listeners, the important takeaway from this is that ghosting, I feel like Gordon Gekko. Ghosting is good. Ghosting works.
In a very strange way, you actually are the Gordon Gekko of ghosting, yes. We're going to have an interview with the Pseudo Scout. So, new owner, one of the expansion team owners, Justin Pseudo Scout, is going to join us. We want to talk about a few things with him, some baseball related, some related to hugging people in costumes. So, we want to definitely make sure that we get to the bottom of all that. And so, see you in a minute.
Is that how you dress? Look at us. You got a Oxford shirt and a fucking sweater on Sunday morning?
It's my Sunday best, Greg.
Hi, Justin. Good morning. Welcome to the call. I just
Is that what Big Bird likes you to dress like?
Yeah, actually it is. Let me pull this feather out of my...
Oh my God, Justin! We it's early in the morning, buddy.
He's been shitting feathers for a week.
Well, this is our very Atlas Balked-like welcome and good morning on a Sunday morning. This is welcome to the show. You used to be a fan favorite as the Pseudo Scout. Now you're fan favorite as a co-owner, or as an owner in the league. You're a fan favorite as an owner in the league. So welcome. This is your first official podcast as an owner.
That's right.
Nice.
You're right. Yeah. This is a big one. I obviously don't expect any special treatment.
Oh, you'll get special treatment.
Anything better than what I've had.
Well, you're the less vulnerable of the two new owners to criticism. Let's put it that way, for sure.
Less vulnerable. Is that based on
within baseball?
Jose Peraza?
Yeah. Within baseball.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Peraza?
Yeah.
Oh God, does that guy listen to this thing?
Let's pretend he doesn't, Justin. Go ahead.
Maybe occasionally.
I got the impression that Bill was wanting to think like, okay, this is who I have to build my major league roster with. I'm not going to have any major leaguers and the player draft to build on, so I'm going to beat Justin now.
Yeah, and maybe. To a point, right? No, right. Bill is going to beat you this year.
And
I have Bill beating Justin. Right. Bill might be right. He might be better than a few. LJ was worse than Pops this year.
You know what? You're right. Actually, with some of the guys that he picked up, I'm like, yeah, this isn't a shitty squad.
Well, it's not.
A season or two.
It's not great.
That's fun.
It's slightly below mediocre. They're not going to win a lot of games, but they're going to win a couple. I thought it was interesting, and again, maybe just lack of knowledge of position, whatever. Out of all the players he took for
he took
now,
15 first basemen.
Well, he didn't take. I mean, again, we make fun of the guy. He's a joke. He's old, whatever. But not Bill.
Well, his honeymoon, his honeymoon period is over. Yeah, 2 weeks ago we were like, "Hey, congratulations!" You're like, we make fun of the guy. He's a loser. He's a joke. You know.
I'm sorry. I was talking about Buster Posey, not Bill.
Oh, Buster Posey.
I just thought that if you're going to take Sin-Soo Choo and Justin Turner and Dan Vogelbach, you might as well grab a top 10 catcher because there's one out there. Catchers are kind of shitty. Again, I understand Justin not doing it, but I think Justin honestly went a little too far the other way. And there's not he's going to have a tougher time competing this year, and you do have a responsibility to try to compete this year.
Well, there's trades. There's the draft that can go still.
Hold on, before we go any further, we should probably bring Bacher Nation into. We had our expansion draft yesterday. Why don't you just run down the picks first so that people understand where all this passion is coming from?
Okay.
Right. So just real quick, like maybe the first 5 or 6 picks, just so
pick by pick or team by team.
Let's just go. If you can go pick by pick,
pick
just
by
so we can
pick would make it more interesting. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so the first pick in the draft went to Bill, which means that Justin now gets the first pick in the actual draft. So Justin, again, kind of a win-win here because Bill used his first pick on Jose Peraza. Again, not the worst player in the league.
26-year-old
young guy,
middle infielder for the Red Sox.
Just went to the Red Sox, yep.
Right, and he's a Red Sox fan, so could have a bounce-back year.
Could for sure. Number 2 was Marco Luciano.
Yeah! I seriously thought he was the runaway number 1 overall pick. When I saw that talent was available, I was so freaking jealous of Bill getting him that I had to calm myself down for a while.
That's a shocker. Picking second, he got his first pick. So again, Justin's happy now because now he got his first pick and he gets to pick first in the next draft. Bill's next pick was Yandy Diaz. The next pick, Carter Kaboom for Justin, who I thought was the number 1 pick in the draft.
Interesting.
I have not seen a top 10 prospect list that he's not in the top 10.
Right.
And I've seen some as high as 3.
Yep.
For Kaboom.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And do you guys really value him that much more over Luciano?
Well, I mean, maybe not 15 years from now. I don't know. They might be competitive. But right now, I know that Carter Kaboom has gotten to this point where Luciano could possibly not, right? Plus, Kaboom is playing this year. So now you get a prospect with potential and a starter this year in one player.
In a great lineup.
Right.
He's young. He's got a great hit tool. He's got some pop. He's middle infield. I mean, everything about Kaboom says this is a guy I was actually considering, because I'm considering moving my second pick in the pitching draft.
This is not an advertisement for your trades, Tim.
Yeah, Tim, come on.
And specifically, I was looking at Carter Kaboom as one of the people that I wanted to target, and then I saw it went in this draft, and I was like, "Well, Justin's not going to let him go." So
his HQ is off the charts. Too.
Definitely not for a staff pick, anyway. So
HQ. I haven't heard HQ in a while. That's great.
Justin, do you know what that is?
HQ, handsome.
Yeah, handsomeness. Quotient. Oh, I just gave it away.
Quartile.
Handsomeness quotient.
Just gave it to you, Justin.
Yeah, there we go.
Handsomeness quotient.
Quasar.
All right. So anyway, real quick, just to kind of run through some of Bill's other picks: Lorenzo King, Dan Vogelbach, Stephen Piscotty, Sin-Soo Choo, which Choo, the only 100-point player on the list. So again, 40 years old, but probably the best player this year that was drafted.
Now, but one thing, Greg, like when you drafted, you were young. Oh, what were you? You weren't even just into your 40s, right? Or were you in your late 30s?
I was. Let's see. I was 37. I was 37
years old, right? So
yeah.
It didn't matter that you drafted a bunch of players that weren't going to take you there. You still had time. But is Bill going to live long enough for his team to be able to compete?
Yeah, he comes from a line. All kidding aside, he comes from a line of long-living folks. That's for sure.
All right.
All right. Well, so Bill took 2 minor league players, Austin Beck and Erceg. Justin took 2 major league players, Chris Davis. Well, one major league player, Chris Davis,
right,
and then and then Byron Buxton. So
Glass Joe.
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
So like I said, so again, with everything else Bill did, if I had put together Bill's team, I would have went ahead and just grabbed a catcher because there was one there.
I did consider grabbing Posey. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, again, he's old. He's not, but he's projected as the number 8 catcher in our league this year, and there's 12 teams. So that, other than that, like I said, Justin's got a little bit of work to do as far as this year, putting a lineup together this year in the draft. And obviously I would think, hopefully somebody can, if Bill isn't aware now, can, at least point out to him that he should probably go a little stronger on the youth in the next draft, outside of, filling his roster. So
Tim, when you send out the link to the podcast, or you've added Justin and Bill to that string?
Justin's been on it for probably a year, but I did not send it to Bill.
And you're criticizing me for not helping?
Oh,
dude, he doesn't live on my fucking island. He's your fucking guy.
Really? I thought you included everybody. What kind of fucking producer are you? Oh, so boy, that really makes him feel welcome. You don't even send him the fucking link to the podcast.
I've done everything else, dude. Like, he's fucking linked in.
Maybe we'll start 2 weeks from now, because right now we're kind of bashing his picks.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You didn't send him the link. You fucking have the link. You're fucking on the podcast.
No, I assume you sent it to everybody. You sent it to Dusty's mother, for God's sakes. I assumed you'd send it to Bill.
Kind of a valid point.
Who's valid point?
You.
Yeah, Jack says I have a valid point, Tim, so back off.
He fucking sucks your dick all the time. Like, he doesn't even fucking disagree.
You send out one text.
I didn't have his fucking phone number.
Yes, you do. You've asked for it 5 times.
I don't suck his dick all the time.
I didn't ask for it 5 times. I fucking asked for it a couple
What's
weeks
his email
ago.
address? I'm like, it's the same email address you sent the link to. Genius.
Sounds like a lover's quarrel that needs to be taken offline.
Justin, shut the fuck up.
Speaking of dick sucking, how did you get to meet Big Bird? Listeners, Justin's. We're all unique in our own ways. We all have our quirks and peccadillos, but unsolicited, out of the blue, maybe a week ago, 4 days ago, I get these texts from Justin. And, and again, my initial assumption whenever I see a notification that it's Justin texting is some insight into like a 14-year-old Panamanian player, a launch angle story, or a punk rock band suggestion. But in this case, it was just 2 photos of Justin dressed to the nines, mugging with Big Bird in some sort of a bizarre photo op.
That's exactly what happened, and I was elated when it did.
Were you on Sesame Street?
No, so I managed the accounting department for a big venue in Tucson, and Sesame Street Live was on tour. I reached out to our director of marketing and sales, and I was like, hey, look, like, I want to meet Big Bird, and all these freaking
and then this guy puts hold. Does Justin have any kids, guys? Go ahead, Justin.
All the bands and stand-up comics that have come in, like, this is the only request I have had to meet one of the celebrities was freaking
Roger Waters.
Oh, yeah. Jerry Seinfeld, whatever. You know what? No, I want to be freaking
had a shot at Jerry Garcia a few years back, but no.
No, and so she was like, yeah, sure, I can make that happen.
Good for you. Pick your battles. Good for you,
and so she was like, hey, come over before the show. Come on over to the theater, and I'll coordinate everything and get up there on stage, and here comes freaking Big Bird right around the corner.
You said, yes, I will come early for that.
I have twice already.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah. The first time when I knew it was a possibility. The second time when I heard yes, and then...
Did you meet Snuffleupagus?
No, I did meet Elmo and Grover. There was someone on my staff that really wanted to meet Grover. And so I'll refer to it as a team-building photo op.
They're not real.
Listen, those are they're puppets, right?
Yeah. All of this happened. The Big Bird one was pretty epic. It was amazing. Even Janine on my staff, she was like, "Oh my God, Justin, I haven't seen someone this excited in a very long time."
Justin, you realize that every league owner who's a parent is now recategorizing you as somebody they'll never allow their child.
You know what? I'm all right with that because I don't think any of them live in the Southwest.
Well, when the Atlas Talk Comic-Con booth gets set up in the year's future, you won't be there. Sorry, buddy.
Along the lines of building this character that we call Justin. So more exciting, meeting Big Bird in person or being sprayed with green alien jism at a GWAR show?
You know what?
Or being sweat upon by an Oakland Athletic.
Oh, well, that's even we can all answer that for him, right?
You know what?
Outside of being sweat on.
We don't know the passion level of Big Bird, Tim.
Let's just choose a random Oakland player to talk about bodily fluid.
You know,
Marcus Simeon.
Oh,
well done, Greg. Well done.
I've actually met Marcus, good guy, but it didn't
He's
match
no Big Bird.
the way that I would rank it.
Did you get Simeon all over you?
No, I did get a permanent marker all over his rookie card, though. Yeah, totally nerded out on that one. But no, it went
covered in Simeon.
GWAR was number one, and followed by Big Bird.
Wow. So there you go.
You know, I've met Billy Bean a couple times. That was pretty epic.
Okay. So GWAR, Big Bird, and Billy Bean.
All right. That's that's not what I expected. So that's
I might actually say Billy Bean number one. I'll re-rank that. Billy Bean number one, then GWAR, then Big Bird. I mean, Billy Bean's like,
who's left on your bucket list?
No one really. I've met Cal Ripken. Actually, maybe you, Jack. You're the only one of the people here on the screen that I have not met yet in person. So yeah, it'll be you.
There's a reason for that, Justin.
He's got two young daughters at home.
It's by design, sir.
I've got Jim Henson connections now, so you know.
I'm sure you do.
He's hoping to meet Chewbacca next year.
It doesn't make it better. So let me ask you this: is like the epitome of like meeting the Oakland A's mascot? Is that kind of a combination of all of it, or no?
What is the Oakland A's mascot?
I was wondering the same thing, actually.
It's an elephant.
Oh yeah, the elephant. Yeah. Is there a physical elephant at the stadium?
Well, yeah, it's a mascot.
Yeah, I've never seen. I don't know that I've ever seen it.
You mean it's not a real elephant in an athletic uniform?
That's what I thought he was asking.
I don't know. I can't picture their mascot. I don't know that I've never
seen it.
Where the fuck does an elephant come from with an athletic too? What
is that?
It's Justin knows the history.
I absolutely do. Yeah. So they actually have an extended history of selling off their talented players. All right, like it's not just a recent thing. So even back in the 70s, when they won, I'll remind everyone, back-to-back World Series.
Were you alive, Justin?
72 through 74? No, I was born in 81.
All right, so
thanks for the reminder. Yeah. All right.
So,
Honus Wagner and the boys really made me proud back in 1909.
Babe Ruth used to play for the Red Sox. I'll remind everybody.
Yeah. So there was another owner that joked about the A's owner at the time in the 70s, and he said, yeah, they have their success now, but it's only a matter of time until he has his white elephant sale. And so they just they rolled with that joke, and it stuck. And so that's the white elephant mascot for the A's.
That's about as boring as I could.
Yeah, it's just as interesting.
I've got an epic story about a bridge being built too. If you guys want to hear that one.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
Okay.
Wah. Oh, well, it's been great seeing you, Justin. Better go get your ski park out here. It might drop down to 82 there today.
If it did, I would. Yeah, I guess that I'm really amped to. If I had it my way, I'd do it again. I'd do the player draft now before any kind of prospect rankings got redone for 2020.
Oh, see, now that Justin knows that Bill knows less than him, he wants to hurry up and get it done before Bill can educate himself.
Well, then, I guess since Greg won't, I think I'll give Bill a call since I have his number, and I'll fucking help him.
Oh, you have his number? Do you? Oh, good.
Yeah, because I had to fucking ask you for it. You didn't even give it to me. I had to reach out. Give me the number. Give me the fucking number.
You're on text strings with me and him that I've sent you to. You moron.
I'm the fucking moron.
At least you admit it.
Yeah, I'm a moron for fucking doing all this shit.
Oh, boo, fucking who? It's the only thing you got going in your life, Moscato.
Fuck
shit.
Fuck you.
Oh,
damn. Justin, consider yourself lucky.
You love this shit. You live for it.
Really? You're so fucking smart. You got that all figured out?
Yeah, that's right. I do.
Oh, all right. Well, that's fucking great.
Yeah, I slept at a Holiday Inn Express last
Who'd
night.
you fucking run out on then, right? Who the fuck did... What date were you on then? You fucking went to a Holiday Inn Express?
Martha Monday. I wanted to take her to a nicer place, but she said she was used to really shitty people.
So makes her more comfortable.
If Dusty didn't hate us out, no wonder when Jack said "Good morning, sir," he said "fuck off." No wonder he just knew. He just knew. Dusty. Well, it was a good first step, Justin. It was good job. You didn't have a lot of competition kind of on the approach for a dynasty league that we maybe thought you might have, but it's a good first step. Don't fuck it up. The expectations have just gone up for you now because you're able to get who you wanted. So I think it'll be good, and appreciate you jumping on, and thanks for downloading a whole new kind of browser software to be on this. You look good. You look, it's nice high def, and thanks for dressing up for this show.
Yeah. I don't look sweaty, Greg. I don't.
Nope. No. Off to the good egg for a nice brunch, girl.
Off to the good egg.
There you go. Cha-ching. All right.
Well,
guys. Listen. Thanks, Justin. We'll talk to you later.
Good
Have
stuff.
a good one. Welcome to the league.
Thanks a lot. See you
later, boys.
All right. Well, welcome back, Bacher Nation. Hey, Joe, I know you weren't in on the interview, but let's pretend you were. What'd you think?
I think Dusty had a sound strategy. Still going to take him a while, but he's got some players he can trade. I think he's a little arrogant about it, but that's Justin.
What about his bestial fantasies, though?
Yeah, do you think there's anything sexual with his love of costumed creatures?
When you said there was more into it than that, it kind of made me wonder. I don't believe we saw his right hand in the photo.
I can't believe he's been banned from all future Sonic grand openings.
He went straight for the biggest one too. He couldn't start with a chipmunk or a squirrel or something cute. He had to go straight to the giant yellow bird.
Yeah, right. Medium bird.
Yeah.
Always start with the chipmunk or a squirrel. That's what I say.
Oh my God!
Snuffleupagus can't run very fast, so maybe to each his own. Live and let live.
Well, what is really funny is that when he saw Big Bird, he initially approached him because he thought it might be Eldon and his chance to meet him.
So I wasn't gonna read this because there really was never a good spot.
Tim.
No, but this one it came through. I thought it was just a fucking I don't know. This came through our Twitter account. It said, "What is a squirrel's sexual fantasy?" Answer: a threesome.
Seemed from one of our young listeners.
Seemed relevant. Joe's the best. Anon. So
from Billy G, 4th grader in Madison, Wisconsin.
Yeah, or dad. It's a dad. Yeah, it could be a dad joke. Maybe it was Eldon. Could be a
I feel like going into Casey Kasem mode would be like, this next letter comes from Billy G. He's a fourth grader in Madison, Wisconsin. He writes, Dear Atlas Bot Crew, what is a squirrel's most favorite sexual fantasy?
Nuts.
The answer? A threesome. Thanks, Billy. We're going to play Mariah Carey's something, and keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars. Joe, live or dead, Casey Kasem?
He's dead.
So we did get a chance to talk with Justin about the expansion draft. We now have 12 teams in the Juiceless League. 12. Like that's pretty big. So I think it was, first of all, I got to compliment all the owners in the league on their phones. Bing, bang, boom. Handling it.
They went smoothly, very smoothly. I saw,
Pops had never been on a podcast before. He was excited.
Oh, that was,
that was a funny text.
I saw the potential of a week plus long situation we knocked out in 24 hours. So yeah, it was good.
Yeah, league's on fire. We are not we're not an easy group to. I mean, I was looking at some of the memes that were going across, and some of the words, and I think you said hello to Dusty, and he said "fuck off," just not even good morning, just woke up pissed at you for some reason. Still smarting from last year. Boy, if only the Dreamers could have stolen some signs, huh? So know what Scotty was going to do, right? If they could have just pulled it off, it's almost like Scotty was stealing signs, wasn't it?
It's right.
Yeah, remember how just unexpected it was that Scotty would end up winning? I think he lost the first game in the World Series, right?
He lost the first game in both series.
In both series,
the previous series. I'm sorry.
Both who did he play? Who was the loser of the first one? Who was?
I can't remember, but he won. He lost the first.
Wasn't
game.
It Jack?
What?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yep. So he must have been stealing signs if he beat me and the Dreamers, right? And come to think about it, Scotty has fucking disappeared from the face of the earth after his championship. He just quietly, he's like, "Thank you. Here's my money. Here's my trophy. I'm going to go in a hole and I'll see you." But I guess that's kind of
he
Scotty,
hibernates with the other raccoons all winter.
Trash pandas.
He's in a tree stump somewhere.
Once the draft was done, he put something on the league, the league text string.
He did.
Right?
He did.
And it was pretty.
Something disparaging.
It was. Yeah, it was. It was pretty snobby about everybody else. Like he just feels like,
which is very out of character, in my opinion. When in behind the scenes communication, Scotty is the opposite of Dusty. Scotty is to me anyway, very nice, very kind, very polite young man. Kind of guy you'd want to bring home to mom if you were in that kind of situation, where Dusty is a dick. So
it's true. Dusty sucks.
Wow.
Until he comes on the podcast, then he's Mr. Straight-Laced.
I think he's our most hated league member. I don't think that's a stretch.
I don't hate him. I've never spoken to him.
You've spoken to him.
I have never spoken to him.
You've been on interviews with him.
You hate Jerry Garcia.
Yeah.
But
you don't.
No,
he's not. Joe's not on.
I'm always the one that's off the interview. Remember, Marshall won't let me.
He's been on here before Squadcast, which
you're right.
sucks.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
They're going to stop paying us,
So yeah, this whole cheating scandal, man. This harkens back to our unwritten rules of baseball. And I'll be honest, it's the off season. I'm not hyper focused on baseball in the off season. And when I first started hearing about it, I was like, "What's the big deal? This is one of those long held unwritten rules where it's other teams don't like it, but you're always hearing about teams stealing signs. But I didn't realize the level of sophistication that was behind.
Right, I think that's it, right? Because it's kind of known, but the passion that some of these players are coming back with now, under the realization is just above and beyond anything I've seen before, beyond unwritten rule. I mean, the Trevor Bauers and Mike Clemengers and Sabathias and I mean, they're fucking pissed. Like they're not, they're fucking pissed. Like it's definitely, again, above and beyond did you see him flip a 1 or a 2 between his legs for the next pitch because you're on second base? This is, some serious shit.
Yeah, Clevenger particularly, you just brought it to our attention yesterday, Jack. Really interesting. I mean, he's right. I hadn't even thought about it that way. I could see, and what his point was, listeners, was that, aside from giving the team an advantage, which led, could inarguably help them win a World Series or be in a position to win a World Series, he was talking about it from the individual player perspective where, he struggled to establish himself in the bigs, and you have all these pitchers whose livelihood and family depend upon them being successful, and these guys are cheating not just to the opponent's detriment, but to the opposing individual pitcher's detriment, and that's a legit argument. I know the Pirates, Chris Archer from the Pirates retweeted the Clevenger video and was like, yeah, preach, man.
Yeah, no, there's a lot, especially the pitchers specifically, but like Trevor Bauer, I mean, there's absolutely no question if you ask that guy, and I guess he already had that information from multiple players over the last couple of years, and within the league there, people talk, obviously, above and beyond players' nieces and fake burner accounts. So, when Bauer already had it in his head, and then all of a sudden it's out there in proof. I mean, that guy, like I said, if you were to ask him, there's absolutely no question that this happened. And, and now they are starting to call for player discipline and so on and so forth. And I don't know the details of that. I know MLB says they investigated it and didn't come up with anything, but it's fucking
Well, it'll
crazy.
be interesting, like, if people start talking, like, and again, maybe it's out there and I don't know, but who was the the driving force behind this scheme, for lack of a better term?
My understanding is that Alex Cora and Carlos Beltran were very prominent.
Wow.
Those two guys specifically. I don't know, again, how, AJ Hinch, like, I didn't have any idea. I just thought they were banging on the trash can back there. No fucking, I don't know. Bullshit. I mean, obviously, it goes, way, but those are the two names that I hear that keep kind of coming up.
And how did it come out? Was it a traded player or former Astro?
I know that there's a Twitter account that is supposedly Carlos Beltran's niece, which is where a lot of this info is coming from. In addition
Carlos
to other
Beltran's niece. That is so odd.
Right. And that's what the players are saying. Obviously, this isn't somebody's fucking niece. Obviously, this is a player that was on the team that has created this burner account to be able, but Carlos Beltran's niece predicted Carlos going to the Mets prior than before he did. So they've made multiple predictions so far, and all of them have come to fruition. And then this is the newest one, basically. So that's I know, Mike.
It's a new level of cheating.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Like juicing is an individual player maybe conspiring with some teammates just for their personal benefit, or trainers or whatnot. This is like an orchestrated thing among a team, and you'd have to imagine. I don't know. I'll be fascinated to hear if the story ever fully comes out, where there are where there are guys on the team who were
against it,
grudgingly going along,
right.
Or were they like, oh God, I'm having some ethical dilemma here. I wonder.
That's my guess, and that's my guess as to who's created these burner accounts, and so, you know what I mean. Now that they're out,
maybe it was all the Astros pitchers.
Some other play. Brian McCann was part of that. The 2007. He's no longer playing, so could somebody in that situation all of a sudden come up and start talking and saying stuff? I do know that every player that I've heard talk about it feels it's worse than steroids.
I would have to agree. It's like, I think you have to put it in the context of the times too. Steroids now, in retrospect, clearly that was cheating, but it was pervasive, and it was just like these guys trying to get it, like the Brady Andersons of the world, who had been a good but not well-established player trying to get an edge, or the Palmeiros, who was like a light-hitting first baseman. You could almost argue they were trying to keep up with the Joneses, But this is like an orchestrated, concerted effort as a team to cheat, which Pete Rose condemned, by the way. Did you guys see Pete Rose condemning it? He was like, "This is much worse than what I did," and I gotta say, he's right. He's right.
That is all that guy does, right? Is sit around signing baseballs, signing cards, signing hats, and waiting for something like this to happen in baseball so that he can jump back up and say, "Hey." Poor guy.
I mean, this rivals the Black Sox scandal.
Yeah, no,
it may eclipse it.
It may, it may. And meanwhile, here's the.
I think that's ridiculous to say that.
What, that it rivals the Black Sox scandal?
Yeah, throwing there's no comparison. They're trying to win. They're not trying to lose.
They're cheating in the World Series.
You're going to sit there and tell me that you don't think the other team was doing something similar?
I don't know.
I think all the teams are trying to get signs from. It happens every year. Somebody, they're stealing our signs.
No, but that's like the old traditional way in the game,
So I don't disagree that it's different, but to me, it's not that big a deal.
You know what? Really? I don't necessarily agree with Joe with the big of a deal, but I will say that Joe is probably right. It probably happens in some form, a whole lot more than we're aware of throughout the league. I think there's probably some sort of, unwritten expectancy, you know what I mean, to a certain level. But then when you pass that level, honestly, I feel like it is possible that baseball is it might be helping make this go away. In other words, this isn't good for baseball, right? And God forbid they keep digging and then Joe's right, and now all of a sudden we have 28 teams doing this or that or so on and so forth, and now it's the timing is not good for the sport, for something like this to come up, and we've talked about that.
They've put headsets in like NFL players, like for plays and stuff. Would it be, to at least level the playing field, to put an earpiece in the pitcher and the catcher's ear and have like, signs or pitches called from the dugout, or if the catcher did it, the batter could potentially hear, but maybe with the code words and shit like that. Because the juicers and the non-juicers all were pretty mum, and they must have known someone like McGuire and Sosa and those guys and Bonds were juicing. But the non-juicers on the team, like I don't think Jeff Bagwell was a juicer. That's my opinion. But or Ken Griffey Jr. was a juicer, and they must have had some either knowledge of or strong belief that other guys with whom they were kind of competing were juicing. But they didn't say it. It was like a code of silence. But Clevenger doesn't seem to be subscribing to that, and I personally look forward to seeing the Astros set a fucking record for getting beaned this year.
Yeah, that he did say, right? He said if MLB isn't going to do something about it,
I'm going to go out of my way to plunk as many Astros this year as I can.
Yeah, so what's going to happen the first time he does? He's going to get thrown out of the game, and it's going to cost him. Yep.
Yeah, but they're going to plan it. I love it. More fights to break down this year, guys.
Yeah, for sure, right? That should be the case.
Yeah, and there was a lot of action taken too. I mean, so Cora, Beltran, this shit's, MLB is not fucking around, nor are the owners, which tells me that somehow there's some money on the line here, and I think it gets to the integrity of the game and how much is the integrity of the game, worth it.
Overall, right? That's
right, exactly.
I agree.
But there was there was at least three kind of peripheral stories associated with this that caught my attention. One amused me, and the others were just kind of bizarrely fascinating. So the one that amused me was like right on the heels of this scandal, for the first time ever, I randomly heard now they're reconsidering Shoeless Joe as a candidate for the Hall of Fame. Did you guys read or hear that?
No, I did not.
Yeah, Pete Rose put that story out.
They're like a deeper look at the evidence. And my initial thought was, oh my God, the guy's long dead, and the only other living human who really felt strongly about it was the fucking dude who wrote the novel for Field of Dreams, and he's dead. And he's let's stop talking about Shoeless Joe. Let's move on to other dudes.
Meanwhile, Pete Rose's head's exploding.
Yeah, and then there was one timely peripheral story. Did you guys see that the son of a former major leaguer, am I wrong saying it was Scott Service's son? Yes. I don't know who.
No, you were right. It's
okay.
No,
maybe.
Anyway, yeah.
Tweeted
Brocious,
and then
Brocious, Scott Brocious.
Oh, Scott Brocious. Yeah. I knew it was a Scott with a S ending name. But tweeted and then quickly deleted that Mike Trout had some league exemption for HGH, which Trout and the league deny.
Yeah.
But it's like this crazy conspiracy theories are going to start flying, you know?
Who has Trout right now in the league?
Me. But I have no Astros.
So I was super excited about that because this really does sound like, and there's I don't know, Greg, how much you read into this, but I found it fascinating. There is a lot of smoke around this. I don't know if there's any fire. And then you just look at Trout, and doesn't Trout look like a mid-90s player? If you were to just look at Trout, say, if you kind of transport him back into the steroid heyday.
I mean, the kid's big, fast, and looks cut, But again, like
it's got a big head.
I don't think Bagwell was. Well, I don't know about that, but I don't think Bagwell was
very square.
Juicing, because Bagwell came into the league kind of, like muscle bound.
No, he didn't. When the Red Sox drafted him, he was. If you look at the way
was he skinny?
He was very skinny.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
He was a white Barry Bonds. Not quite.
Yeah, there you go.
Close though, almost that. Yeah, he was pretty skinny.
Well, I almost hope
Griffey.
There better be fire.
Again,
there better be fire because if not, that would be a fucking vicious thing to do to a great baseball talent. To kind of smear his name casually like that. So if I'm Brocius's kid, who the fuck is that loser who's never accomplished anything? You better know what you're speaking of.
I was going to say, how would he even know about that?
Well, from his dad.
How would his dad?
There's a lot of.
I think it was an angel.
Speaking of night, Gary Sheffield Jr., who is also a player. I think he's in the minor, whatever. He is the one that tweeted Carlos Beltran's niece was an actual player. So he's Gary Sheffield Jr. started that thread basically and started people digging into that. Not that it once again for a niece, she had a little bit too much info.
It's like baseball's version of Hardy Boys,
Right? Yeah, seriously. Yeah, all kinds of All
these sons of players,
meddling kids.
It was Tony La Russa.
Do you think it's based on success? In other words, we're talking about the Astros, who probably were the best team in 2017, right? I mean, they you know what I mean. Mike Trout, who is one of the best. Not we're talking about guys that are already elite, situations that are already elite, and then like trying to take it another step. Like, do you think that there's more of that going on, or though they're just being pointed out because of the success and it's happening all elsewhere as well?
I don't know, honestly.
Doesn't it seem odd that like the best team in 2017 is the only one that cheated, and the best player in all of baseball is the only one that's doing, you know what I mean?
It's if Mike Trout was a backup catcher, a bullpen catcher, nobody would be talking about it.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It exists, but nobody cares.
Bullpen catchers even playing?
No, they bang the toilet can lid, the trash can lid. Toilet can.
Freudian slip.
That's for you,
anyway,
fantasy guys. But I think they said the MLB has less than 100 TUEs or therapeutic use exemptions, and that's where they're saying that Trout has a thyroid issue and therefore is using HGH. Now, what was interesting is that MLB came out, and MLB and MLBPA came out and said that nobody has received an exemption for HGH. And that's where I think the story gets interesting, because basically what Broch's son was saying was that he's using it because he has a TUE, and Major League Baseball and MLB, Major League Baseball Players Association, saying nobody has received an exemption for HGH. Now that's where I think this gets very interesting.
Yeah.
And that we know that Trout has been tested for HGH. They were testing it since 2013. Then the question becomes, wait a minute, so if he's been tested and it didn't come up positive, MLB is saying it's not happening, then that seems to think like, this is just a rumor, right? And why would MLB, which typically doesn't comment on stuff like this, why did they come out so strongly and so quickly and say that?
I guess
I don't know. I don't know where this is going to go. Maybe it's nowhere. Maybe it's just a slow news day, and Scott Brocious' son was getting high and kind of shared it on his account or something. Who knows?
Well,
but,
I don't know about you guys, but any fellow owners in terms of a fantasy impact, I was looking at Carlos Correa and thinking about him. He's established that he's a quality player. He's had some ups and downs, but that text that I think Jack sent of Altuve, Correa, and then Brian McCann's home and away splits, that gave me a moment's pause, and I was like, oh, great. I hope Correa is the player that I thought he was, and it wasn't benefiting from cheating. Or even, I also thought to myself, is this going to fuck with these guys all mentally now?
Just mental, right? That's what me and Mike were talking, right? Whether or not they're still doing it or continued to do it, or Carlos Correa had kind of a down year last year, right?
Yeah, he was injured, but I also think
maybe
about
he's one of those guys, right? Maybe he was one of the guys that didn't want to do it, and it got to him, and maybe it's fucking tearing him up inside, and you know what I mean? I'm just saying, there's lots of
like Ryan Braun when he was humiliated, by being caught and lying and accusing the tester of doing something wrong and then apologizing. I know there were age-related declines in his game, but I wonder how much of his declines were age versus not using the illegal substance versus, I know I can say with pride that my then under 10-year-old daughter were screaming vociferously at him every time he came to play the Pirates. Cheater, cheater! I used to take great pleasure and yell, and I used to try to sit in the outfield out near him and just mock him the whole game.
Yeah, that's so out of character.
You piece of shit, cheater! And I would get my child to yell similar things.
Definitely news to Bacher Nation right there.
I know, but I mean, again, that can't feel good.
And I hate to dumb it down to our league, but I don't know that I would want Jose Altuve right this moment.
Springer had a great year. Springer,
Bregman. I mean, the Carrera, all those guys. Again, they're great players, and if they did cheat, and that's the crazy part, and you take the cheating away, I still think they're great players. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think anybody drops into obscurity because of it. None of those guys.
It's just like the Juicers. They were great to begin with, and they were just so obsessed with better. Did Marwin Gonzalez? Did the Stros let him go?
He's in Minnesota now.
Yeah, maybe he's one of the sources.
Yeah, that he would be a good choice, right? Because he was one of the guys that couldn't get into the lineup, regularly, but they had to kind of spot him here, spot him there. So
or JJ Redick maybe, or something like that.
Yeah, Redick was he was the one that they went back to the interview that has either it's tape or a piece of confetti from the celebration up on his chest, because he had taken his jersey off and just had his tank top on, and they pointed that out a few times. But again, it's very
what, that he was in great shape or what?
No, that he when they were interviewing him after the game, he was down to his tank top, and much like when I came on today joking around, he had a piece of what either was tape, like right here, or it could have been a piece of the confetti that came down and was sticking to his chest, because it is, it's like a yellowish color or whatever. So it's possible it was just confetti, but there was definitely something.
That's amazing. Like none of the wires fell out. It had like a Milli Vanilli expose.
There's a
moment,
lot of shit flooded the internet that was kind of doctored and made up, but the MLB disproved that. They said it was they said it was involved the replay booth. It involved calling to the replay booth in the bullpen and the use of the audible kind of hitting the trash can, which again, just fucking like who's not putting this together, right? It's not what were the Vizavulas or whatever those things that were.
So are you? I'm sorry, Tim.
Yeah,
Vuvuzelas. Yeah,
Vuvuzelas, right? It's not like thank God
the annoying horns is what we call them here in the United States.
Yeah, we discontinue those at our games. Tim, are you saying that that then you are in agreement, or you at this moment believe that the Astros cheated to the point of banging trash cans and such, but you do not, that you believe MLB in that there was no electrical devices or anything along those lines? So you're saying,
right? The electrical devices that were used was camera equipment,
right?
That is set up.
There was no buzzers,
replay.
as far as you're concerned. There was no buzzers under uniforms.
I gotta believe MLB. I mean, honestly, of all the professional sports, MLB has probably the most legitimacy in my mind, in that they kind of self-disclose these scandals, and to the detriment of or the potential detriment, it hasn't been to this point. But the juice balls, the steroid.
Well, is that because they have higher integrity, or because they're more cheaters in that sport? No, honestly,
that's a. I think there's cheaters in every sport, so I'd got to say that part of the selling point of baseball is integrity. It's got to be, right, because this is a business. It's not for fun.
No, right. It has to be, right. That's what I'm saying. And I believe that baseball, MLB will go out of their way to protect that integrity, even to the point of, if need be, changing or falsifying or hiding information.
Which I admire.
I just hope Correa doesn't get suspended for 80 games or anything.
Yeah,
seriously.
Of course. No, all self-interest aside, right? Well, gentlemen, it was fun to talk.
Change some rosters for sure.
It was fun to talk about baseball. Although I see Joe is literally itching to get off the call and go start prepping.
Gotta fire up that grill for some tailgating and make some pig turds.
He likes his blood alcohol level to be 0.11 by game time.
I saw a new recipe for my atomic pig turds that actually has brisket inside the cheese mix.
Jesus Christ. Are you just trying to accelerate death? Is that just literally
accelerate death?
Accelerate death, yes.
And the fun part is he has them surgically implanted by a surgeon into his aorta.
Right, exactly, straight in.
Not to the stomach, right into his aorta.
I'm guessing I probably eat better than the three of you.
You're probably right, Joe. Okay, boys. Well, listen, great show today. Great talking to you all, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
All right.
Adios.
Let's try to shut this thing down correct this time, huh?
Yeah, Tim, don't fuck it up again.